There are a few ways to make a race car go faster. Having a talented driver is certainly one of them, and getting the car to handle properly is another. For some, having the biggest, baddest engine is the answer. While there's a monster of a super late model engine on the horizon, which could change things. Chris Rhodes has raced off and on for a number of years, and while he has enjoyed success behind the wheel, he may be known more for the winning power plants he builds at Edge Racing Engines.
We build somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 racing engines a year, and my wife says now we're, at this point in the year, we're about 100 feature wins on our engines. We're only one feature win on our own car, but feature wins are hard to come by. There's 20 or 25 other guys there that want to win too.
Chris got a start in building engines while working for his family's business.
The family business was started in 1986. Rhodes Performance Machine, myself, my dad, and my brother. I headed it up and ran that business pretty much until 2006. I made a decision to start Edge Racing Engines here at my present location. Came down here and focused just on racing engines. At our company at Rhodes Performance, we do just about any kind of engine, including racing engines, but I didn't want to be bothered with things that weren't involved in racing.
For all that Chris has accomplished in building racing engines, what's more impressive is that he doesn't have a degree in the field. And his first forays into assembling engines had nothing to do with racing.
When we started out in the engine business, it wasn't racing engines. It was, you know, dump trucks and pickups and whatever, grocery getters. And you do enough of that stuff, you learn a lot of things. You learn a lot of do's and don't do's, and it just evolved over a 20 or 25 year period. And I don't think it's something you can pick up quickly or learn overnight. It's a long process to learn how to really all the ins and outs of race car engines.
Chris's latest project is an aluminum big block engine which is designed to produce 1,000 horsepower.
We do, at my other company, we do a lot of pulling truck engines, which are big block, big displacement engines, and the power curves are very similar to small blocks, just a lot bigger. So we got to thinking we needed to downsize that a little bit and lighten it up and get it in a dirt late model car. And I started thinking about this and talking to people about it probably 7 or 8 years ago. And we finally got some special castings made that make the package physically a little smaller on the outside and lighter, and had Donovan make some castings and machine us a block, and we're finally getting the project to come together now. Well, Ed Powell's the first guy to order one. We're building it for him. I don't know who's going to be the driver of it. If he asked me to put it in my car, I'd be pulling my engine out immediately. I think it's going to end up being a pretty good package. I think it's going to be hard to beat.
But can so much horsepower be utilized on a surface such as dirt? Or will this engine be more of a conversation piece?
This isn't going to be an engine for any racetrack. There's certain racetracks where, to be honest, 600 horsepower win a race. Years ago when you went to Challenger and it was really slick, probably 500 horsepower would do the job. This wouldn't be the engine you'd want to have there. But places like Selinsgrove and Port Royal and a lot of other places when the tracks are wet and heavy, 1,000 horsepower is really going to make a difference. I know this year alone, Port Royal has been really fast and heavy. I think you've been there yourself a few times. You get down there with a big horsepower advantage, them guys are going to wonder where you went.
News of the engine has sparked a great deal of interest.
We had 2 other guys that are pretty seriously interested. Those two guys probably are going to order them before this one's done. I have a lot of other people that are interested to see what happens once we get it out and get it running. It's caused a pretty good stir. It's kind of been fun.
Although many late model drivers have visited Winner's Circle with his products, Chris's expertise can be found in other classes.
We do pure stock engines, street stock engines, limited lates, late model engines. Most of our business is late model engines. We have some really good drivers that run pure stock and street stock and limited late. We usually end up winning a fair amount of races there and even championships in all those divisions. But if it's a race car engine, we're interested in working on it.
Street stock drivers such as Bill Henney and Brian Duffy have found victory lane using Edge Racing engines. And that kind of success can bring in more business.
Yeah, that happens a fair amount, not as much as you'd like it to, but when you have guys winning races and running up front, you always have people calling wanting to do business, so that works out pretty good.
The business doesn't allow Chris to focus a great deal of attention on the race team, and almost led to him curtailing his days at the track.
A couple weeks ago, I told my wife I was going to quit racing. I've been too busy in the shop to spend enough time with the race car to race well, and racing wasn't going good, which makes it easier to quit, and I told everybody that was it. We were going to race a lot less. We weren't completely quitting, and my crew stepped up and got after the car more. I haven't really worked on this car in 3 weeks. They've been getting it ready, and the stars lined up, and we really started running good, so everybody's pretty happy now, and I haven't had to spend any effort on the car, which I've been able to work harder here at the shop, and I'm pretty happy with where we're at, and as it stands, we're going to continue to race as long as things go the way they are.
Well, to be honest with you, when I first got into racing, I cried the whole way home from when we picked up his first race car. I thought it was horrible because it took so much of your time away, you know, from everything. And I went with him because I loved him and I supported him through the years, and it just blossomed into I became more of a fan than he did. And there was no way he was going to tell me we were quitting racing. And then to tell me he was taken away, I said it's like taking a kid away. And I'm thankful that he changed his mind and everything. But I understood that he was busy at the shop and that, and you know, and I'd support him no matter what he wanted to do. But if there was any way we could stay into racing ourselves, that would be great.
And since he is continuing with his racing efforts, Chris is increasing the possibility of being a winner at the end of the night, one way or another.
I don't mind at all when one of my customers beat me. It's fulfilling anyway. So when I go to the races and there's 5 or 6 other guys there running our engines, I got a lot better chance of feeling good at the end of the night than most people have, because you know they're there just themselves. I got 5 other guys that could do the job for me.
I don't know about you, but I'm curious to see how Chris's engine performs. In the next segment, we will return to Thunder Mountain Speedway for more highlights, as well as Clinton County Raceway and Hummingbird Speedway. Stay with us.